Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the stream. So today's guest, as you can tell in the Detailers Q&A, we're going to have Tim Coates of Ethos. I'm sure you guys have seen him around before. So this whole stream is it's open to questions from the audience is what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and get Tim on here and let's get this thing kicked off and go ahead and start asking your questions. Tim,
hey
welcome.
Everybody. Hey Martin, how you doing?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. I
Right,
appreciate you letting me be on this chat. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with you and with followers. And
absolutely. Well, thanks for joining in and entertaining people and answering the questions that they're hopefully going to have.
Of course.
So let me get started off. Give people a little bit of history about myself and your brand. So for people who haven't been following the channel for a long time or may have just may not have noticed, I've known about Ethos for a long time. The first product I saw was Defy. That thing was big. And with most brands, I'm always skeptical when I see a new brand come out making as bold of claims as Ethos is making with their graphene products. So I think I started out with some car shampoos and a couple things, and I think the ceramic speed wax is one of the first non-soap products I bought, and I gave everything reviews, and my reviews were, hey, everything seems to work pretty good, and the speed wax I was pleasantly surprised with. I think fast forward, once we got you into the car detailing deals group that I moderate, that's when we started communicating more, getting more products in to test out, and led to this. Here we are. So.
Yeah, and you've had a chance to try a pretty good amount of the products now too. I think because I think some of the soaps were the first. I think one of the first tests you did was ceramic shampoo or the graphene shampoo, and I'm curious, where did you see us first, or where did you remember kind of where you saw the brand? Was it online?
I think I just remember seeing advertisements for it.
Okay.
I forget, probably on Facebook, and then I remember I think Brian Apex Detail was one of the first people on YouTube that was grabbing the products, reviewing them, and Brian was giving them pretty good marks. And I at the time, even still now, I held Brian's opinion pretty high because he seemed to be pretty straightforward about everything. He wasn't Brian. He surprises me because he is like the one person who, even though he would benefit greatly from it, does not use affiliate links whatsoever. He does not care about Amazon affiliate links. He does not care about affiliate links with the brands. He's just like, hey, I like this product. This is where you can buy it. I don't make anything from it. Cool. And I mean, he's got a pretty successful business. Understand?
Totally. Yeah, and he has a big following too. And that's, if you notice, I only really send our products to a handful of YouTubers that I trust would actually do valid reviews. And that's what I really respect about Ryan, is that he was really honest, and the fact that he didn't have affiliate links, and he would give honest feedback about the products, regardless of whether he liked it or didn't like it. He was just upfront. I think that's super important for transparency, especially for the YouTube world. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think Brian was one of the first big detailing channels that was doing full on in the shop everyday detailing. We had some people that are more like me who weren't doing it every single day. But Brian, I think Brian and probably Larry Casello are the first two. Like, here's a shop, but Brian's doing it every single day. Larry has moved on to just like. He's become like a brand at this point for ammo, including himself for what he does. But Brian's just like, hey, you come to my shop, you pay my fee, I'll take care of your car every single day, cranking them out. So that's somebody I've always held in high regard as far as what does he think? Because I think I learned a lot from him, especially paint correction. Getting into that is a lot of tips from him and some other people. But enough about Apex. Maybe I'll have to get in on the show one day.
Totally.
Let me see.
But you had a good point too, and that's one thing I think. Especially a lot of our customers come from seeing our ads either on like Facebook, Instagram, or kind of out there in the interwebs. We do take a lot of time spend a lot of time on marketing. So I think, kind of like you said, once people have tried the products, they know we're a quality brand. But because we do a lot of marketing, a lot of advertising online, it's easy to group Ethos, if you haven't been initiated in our brand, with the rest of the advertisements. So yeah, I think I think when some of our conversations we had too, you're a little hesitant to try some products, but once you did, like you said, you knew it was a quality brand.
And I think that's why one reason I was hesitant was because you guys do a lot of marketing, and my experience with not every single brand, obviously at this point, but a majority of brands that I see heavily marketed, it's a marketing team behind it, and nobody with any like solid foundation in detailing and chemistry. And so
Totally.
you know you get it, and sure, it might fool the people. The marketing, we've got the Triphene one is probably the latest one where we know
The Max Easy.
a dozen products of that already exist that work just as well, if not better. But Ethos was interesting because you're bringing a lot of ceramic and graphene products to the market. Graphene was still new at the time, so you were like, I think the first or second brand I saw with a graphene coating, and you've since come out with all these other graphene infused products. And that was another thing I was skeptical about. I'm like, graphene, is it any better? And come to find out, graphene, it's a nice additive into products. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but graphene coatings more or less are ceramic based, graphene infused, and that graphene does have its benefits: slickness, chemical resistance, water spot resistance, things of that nature.
There's some different ways of going about that too. I think some brands do have kind of ceramic base graphene coatings where they it's like a ceramic form they add graphene to, or they use the ceramic coating as a backbone for the graphene. So there's a lot of different ways to go about it. So I think that's kind of why we see some variance in the performance of graphene. And I think some of the claims when graphene coatings first came out maybe were a bit hyperbolic in terms of what they could do. And as with any new technology, I mean, we see it in the car industry though. Look at like Tesla with a Cybertruck. They announced it, said it was bulletproof and did all this stuff, and then the final product comes out and it's a little bit different.
So where I live in Austin, Texas, and I have seen a handful of Cybertrucks on the road already. And actually, the route I take to work, I frequently see, funny enough, diesel trucks hauling Teslas off to wherever they go. Right, almost every day driving down, I see a truck full of Teslas and a bunch of Cybertrucks on them. And I saw a Cybertruck coming at nighttime, and I thought it looked cool, but like as you get close to it, I'm just like,
There's some angles where it looks decent, and then some angles where it's like the most ugly shape you could come up with.
So I as a self-respecting automobile enthusiast, I've never cared for Teslas. Sorry, Eddie. I know Eddie's he's here watching this.
Hey, I have a Tesla too, man. I'm the same way. I come from my first car was a manual, naturally aspirated BMW. So I've had many manual cars, and I'm big into that space. And they have their place, but nothing replaces a good internal combustion engine.
Yeah. I did. I got a friend who he got a Kia EV6 GT, and he took me for a spin in that. And I mean, electric cars have torque. They got torque out the ass, especially that thing. But after that, I'm like, that's cool. It accelerates really quick, but that's
it's where the fun stops, pretty much.
Not having to pay for gas. I get back in my car, it's loud. It's got the blow-off valves. The exhaust pops. I'm like, this is what it's all about.
A little more passion behind that, for sure. So
absolutely, but I mean, all in all, we're detailing cars out here. So I've detailed a Tesla before. I thought it was really stupid when I got in it, and I spent a good minute trying to figure out how to open up the door because
the push buttons.
Well, first I had to figure out how to unlock it because he gave me the valet key card.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, how does this thing work? I finally moving it all around, found the spot, and then I get in, and I'm like, how do I get out of this?
That's how the Rivians are too. The Rivians have like a spot on the door you got to press the valet key for, and it's on some of the newer ones or the older ones that first came out, the newest releases of them, they had a weak signal, so you had to kind of sit there and search to start the car. And
and see me thinking, I'm always thinking worst case scenario. I'm like, the electronics die in this thing. How do we get out? And I'm sure there's probably like some emergency procedure or something.
For sure.
It's definitely not a simple thing. I think I don't know if you saw the video of James May. His during quarantine, his Tesla sat there for so long that it died. The battery completely died.
Wow.
And he showed the video. He took a video of how to get back into it so you can trickle charge the batteries. Like, you gotta take this off. You gotta take this off.
You gotta pop the front.
There's all kinds of things. And he's just like, see, I put these things on my motorcycles for this very reason, but now I gotta go through all this just to get it on the Tesla.
Yeah, you would think it's a big battery.
The trunk and it's right there, So.
Yeah, you think it wouldn't drain. That's the dumb thing. Like my Model 3 is a 2018, so it's one of the newer one or one of the older ones when they first came out, and it's just normal car battery inside the front. So when that dies, the car literally is a brick. Like you can't open the doors. You can't unlock it. You can't start it. Can't do anything. So you literally have to go take the toilet cover off, jump start these little prongs in the underneath behind the bumper to open the front to then charge or replace the battery. And it's like, the big battery pack there. Why is the 12 volt literally make this car work or not? That's just, it's weird. So.
Well, here Eddie's got a question for you, and I know you met with Eddie a few times.
Yes,
As they call
I
you,
love
Daniel.
Eddie. Eddie's a good dude. He's always asking the good questions too.
Yeah, so yeah, I know you have been releasing a lot of new products since late last year, early this year. And is it just because this is the time of year when you find sales are the highest? Most people are stocking up after the winter winds down. People need more supplies.
Yeah, so it is. The business is definitely seasonal. Wintertime does slow down. Obviously picks up in springtime, summertime. We try to release more products during this time, but right now it's just been kind of on the R&D cycle where we've had a lot of products we've been working on the back end that we're now have really kind of finalized. So there's going to be a lot of releases, in the next few months, kind of going one after the other. And then just we didn't really time it that way. It's just because we've had a lot of stuff ready to
Okay.
go.
Yeah, I got you. That's how I feel with like video.
Yeah,
sometimes I'll have nothing for a while, and then creativity mode kicks in. I've got 50 ideas. I record them all in a week, but I'm like, well, I can't release them all right now.
Yeah. And it also goes back to the chemistry side too. We'll have a raw material supplier send a new novel, raw material to our chemistry team, and then we'll start tinkering around with it, throwing in formulations, and go, okay, well, this works really well in a Rinseless, or this works good as version 2 of Resist or whatever else, and then we incorporate that into products, and before we know it, we have 2 or 3 new versions or new products we can come out with for that. So sometimes it kind of just shows up to where it's like that things work together and the pieces come together to where there's a lot of releases at once.
I've got a question about new product releases, because this year seems to be the year that every company that doesn't already have one, or even they do, coming out with a rinseless wash or a new rinseless wash, including a few people that I have done these podcast interviews with already. Is Ethos coming out with a rinseless wash?
Yeah, we've been playing with it for several years behind the scenes, and what's been holding it up for me is that there are so many rinselesses on the market. As with any other type of product in each segment, is that I don't want to release something that is that's already out there. That's not an improvement. That's not
going to hype dies down from the other stuff, and then hey, here's another one.
Exactly. Yeah, because it does get, you can do, I mean, from a marketing standpoint, you get lost in the crowd a little bit, but also from a customer standpoint, me personally, I don't feel like it's justifiable if I release a new product and there's something else out there that's just as good. And then if customers feel the need to have to buy multiple products or because then I've noticed a lot of enthusiasts too tend to stockpile a lot of different brands and products, and before you know it, you have a shelf full of stuff that pretty much does very similar things. So I'm always trying to find ways to tinker. And the Rinseless for me, I was really torn between going a direction of like cleaning power or going the direction of protection and cleaning, and trying to find a balance between both. And we've tested a bunch of formulations on one side of that spectrum and another on the other side, and we're still trying.
I was gonna say Ethos is big into ceramic and graphene, so that rinseless wash has got to be infused with some protection.
It's going to be ceramic. It's going to be kind of in our same rationale as like a ceramic shampoo and graphene shampoo, to where obviously not going to be the most durable as like a standalone protection, which is not going to be the goal. But the goal with something like that is going to be that you can use it for obviously like a new car prep if you're going to be applying on coating, and it's not going to interfere with anything, so it's not strong enough to where that's an issue. But if somebody has a coated car, they can use the Rinseless and really maintain and rejuvenate the coating each time. So
and that's I think the only ceramic Rinseless I've tried was Wolfgang, and that's about where it's been. But I've lost a lot of faith with Palm Beach Loitering Group in recent years. And
they've fallen off a bit. It seems like
they really have. There's no more good deals on their website. It just seems like it's just kind of died down, and all the detailers have left the company, and now it's just some people that are just
corporate,
just bean counters and things like that. So, I'm actively looking for another ceramic rinseless wash, because when I use rinseless wash, I live in Texas, so it's no problem to clean outside year round. But sometimes my car is just dusty because it's so dusty here. So I rinseless wash it in the garage to get all the dust off, bugs, whatever. So I don't mind using something with ceramic protection, because I'm not super focused on the cleaning aspect of it, because I don't necessarily need it. I can use detail spray to get dust off, but I'd rather use rinseless. It's a lot faster, easier, use less towels. Things like
that's my philosophy too. With I know some Rinselesses are going the direction of really just focusing on cleaning power, which I believe is important. But if a car is really dirty to the fact that Rinseless may not cut it. Like you're gonna wash the car anyways. You're gonna do a full
Yeah.
car wash. Like so, for me, a Rinseless is really going to be really, or mainly designed really for like ongoing maintenance or for like a new car prep for a coating or a detail shop or something like that. So it is something I think is good. I think having a product that's really well balanced in
Yeah.
every category is the way to go.
And
Versus
I've figured out a system for myself because sometimes I drive to work and it rains. I don't like seeing my car out in the parking lot dirty. So on my lunch break, I'll go to the car wash, the touchless car wash, which touchless car washes are not that great because it'll get everything off. But then my car is not dirty enough where I feel safe using rinseless or waterless. You know, it goes back to the thing where, you can use power washer to spray off the car first, which depending on your living situation, some people are doing it at the coin wash, going home, rinseless washing. For me, if I'm getting my own power washer out, I'm just going to wash the car.
You know? Yeah, you're doing a full process. You know, you're going to spend an hour. You know, it's going to take.
If I'm crunched on time, I'm like, let me just get all the crap off this. I'll take care of the rest of your home. Understandable. So Scott used Resist for the first time. I still haven't used Resist yet. I'm planning on it. I'm going to put it up against another company that just came out because they're making pretty bold claims with their ceramic sealant. So we're going to see how they stack up to each other.
Awesome.
I've seen a lot of good stuff about Resist, so I'm glad Scott likes it.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. I'm glad you're really liking the product. Resist is really one of our best sellers because it like we were talking about the rinses that check so many boxes. You know, it's really durable, but really easy to use and cost effective as well too. So a little bit goes a long way.
And I know you're one of the few companies I see that has that the Instabond. You guys call it Instabond technology. It looks like it's trademarked. The term. So with that being said, that must mean that means that Instabond, you apply it, you're good to go. You can go driving up the car. Do you still benefit from letting it cure for at least 24 hours? Does it improve the bond better over time?
Yeah, for sure. Because Instabond is our proprietary additive. So it is unique to our product line, but it's only a portion of that product. So the entire chemistry of that isn't Instabond itself. So there's other resins in there that do add some stout durability that will take some time to basically air off, as well as we do have their solvent-based coating resin in there that does take time as well to cross-link and bond. So you will benefit from it. The Resist specifically it does have that mix of other stuff in there. Products like the Ceramic Refresh V2 has Instabond and Finish Shine has Instabond. Those you can pretty much just, you can spray them on, wipe them off, and it's pretty much good to go whenever you can wash it.
In my test, I always give, if it's a spray-on product, I give it at least 24 hours because I want it performing its best. With the exception, I guess McGuire says 7 days, even though it's in a bottle, so I'm gonna have to retest that one.
It's a long cure time.
Yeah, it is a long cure time for a spray product, but they say it's as good as a coating, so we'll find out in the future.
So it's definitely something to wear. It's also more we started incorporating the products more from a usability standpoint too. So I don't know if you've noticed with like products like Finish Shine or Defy, when you spray it on the surface, the product will actually bead up on itself. It turns into like a really small micro bead. Yeah. So we've noticed
with your brand. Your brand seems to be like, we're focused on the consumer, but you're getting professional quality here.
Totally.
Essentially. So
that's the main goal. Pro results made easy is really our tagline, is incorporating what my experience as a detailer and finding ways to make the products approachable for everyday people.
And everything's on Amazon.
Everything's on Amazon. Ships to you in 2 days, for free if you have Amazon Prime, and
you don't get the discounts that you get on the website. But
exactly. And Amazon's its own beast. There's perks and drawbacks to being on Amazon as a brand, but my goal is to make the products easy for anyone all over the world to purchase.
And the way I see it, why cut yourself off from income? Sure, Amazon may not be the highest gains between selling it from your own site, but there's people out there that straight up, if it's not on Amazon, they're not going to buy it. So.
Totally. Yeah, and it's a big sales channel, so it's important.
All right. So Aaron wants to know, he's not super familiar with the brand. What are your top 3 products? I guess, what are your 3 best sellers?
Yeah. So 3 best sellers are, like I said, Resist is definitely in the top 3, our graphene coating, and then actually our ceramic wax, our original ceramic wax pro is the top 3 seller too. So I'd say those are probably in the mix.
Ceramic wax pro, really?
Yeah, if it's
people love waxing, so I mean.
It's a product where my goal with releasing ceramic speed wax was to phase out ceramic wax, and
They
it
just won't
just
let it go.
I tried doing that for a couple weeks. We took it off Amazon, and we had a bunch of people asking where it was and asking why it left, and asked. So have you noticed now we sell both products kind of in the boat on the same product page, because
Yeah.
so many people still like having a paste style hand applied, wax in a ceramic coating form. So yeah, surprisingly, that's actually is one of our biggest sellers on a volume basis, and
And
that's
I'm not
actually
actually surprised now that I say that, because detailers, of course, we're focused on all the finer. How well does it protect? Blah blah blah. But like, there's
totally.
people out there that are just like, I just want to wax, man. Like,
Yeah.
they don't necessarily care how strong it is, because they're going to do it again in a month.
Yeah, and
It's
that was
just
the
their
first product we
unwinding.
came out with.
At the end of the work week, I'm going
Yeah.
to take care of my car, get it looking nice, and take it out. So that's just what they do.
And everybody knows about waxing. Everybody knows about car waxing and carnauba waxing. So I found it's kind of our gateway drug to our brand, so to speak.
Oh
That
yeah.
or once they use that, they see, okay, well, this applies like a wax, but I'm getting better protection.
Every one of these products too, people will just call it a spray wax, because that's the term they associate with. There's brands that it can have no form of wax in it or whatever. They just know the marketing, so they just
They
call
know
it
the marketing.
ceramic
Yeah.
spray wax, even though there's no wax in it, because hey, that's what people think in their heads. That's
And we've
what
gotten
the
pushback.
majority thinks in their heads. The people that aren't detailers, so.
Yeah, and that's where we gotten pushback from enthusiasts or prosumers out there, or professional detailers, like, oh well, you say you have a ceramic wax, that's not possible, or it doesn't make sense. Well, it's trying to appeal to a broader market, or bring people into the detailing community, because my ideal customer is obviously like an enthusiast or even a detailer or whatnot, but there's a big segment of people out there that are still buying turtle wax, they're still buying
turtle
arm off,
wax.
they're still buying
Yes.
like basic crappy products that
I have a video just on the turtle wax, paste wax, spray wax,
Mhm.
comparing them, and it's a huge video globally, because there's people all over the
Totally.
globe that they don't have access to Ethos in India and Africa, wherever, or they don't have easy access to it anyways. But what do they do have? Turtle wax.
Yeah.
That's
And
what
that's
yeah.
and that's the whole thing about going back to the brand being approachable, is that how can we make really high quality products that detailers can use, but also people that are going to grab a turtle wax bottle on a shelf could also go, hey, this brand actually looks like, or this product looks like something I can do. Let me give it a shot, and actually then get them in the sphere of professional level products.
And you've got the really nice branding labels.
The colors,
eye catching. The colors are vibrant. Like, it just draws you in. It's really, really well done. I mean, sure, you guys took a long time designing these labels, but they're pretty nice.
A lot goes into a lot of thought goes into that.
Car Wash Channel has a question. I had the same question for you in the past, so I'm going to reiterate what you told me, and then I'll let you fill in the rest. They want to know why the ceramic shampoo doesn't have ceramic in it and doesn't sheet or bead. As for the chemistry, I don't actually know what's in it, so I can't answer that. Tim will answer that here in a second. But why it doesn't sheet and bead. So I've learned this, and this isn't exclusive to Ethos. A lot of companies, come to find out, utilize the same methodology, I guess you could call it, and chemistry. So while there are some products out there that do instantly bead, a lot of these shampoos, because I had a review on 3D, which they actually claim that it beads, which it doesn't. So their marketing and their R&D departments are not talking together. But these products, essentially, as you use them, they build upon what's existing there. If nothing's there, they put a very, very small amount there. Just over time, as you continue to use it, it builds upon itself, and you'll start to see some sheeting and beading. It's never going to be as good as using one of these products or using a coating. But the idea is that it's maintenance for when you have something like here on it already.
Yeah, and that's a really good explanation for it too. It's not going to be like our product, specifically like ceramic shampoo and cleanse, which is our graphene shampoo, are not going to have extremely high levels of active coatings or ceramic or graphene resins in them. They're going to be a mix between being a good shampoo but also adding protection.
And I will say, as shampoos, they're very good. They foam well, they smell great, and they clean very good. That's what you're looking for.
And they're slick and really have great lubricity.
It throws in this added benefit. Me personally, I don't necessarily care for the benefit, but for some people that just, hey, this is like my thing that I do. Some people prefer that system. I replied to a comment today because somebody was saying on a video showing off a polishing pad that I didn't do it right, and I said, believe it or not, there's more. There isn't one specific way to do everything. There's multiple ways to do things.
Definitely.
So the
Everyone
way
has
I
their
do
unique
it may be different from you, may be different from the next person. So
exactly.
as long as it works, or
Yep.
as long as you're getting your value out of the product is what I should say.
Yeah, and those shampoos too, like ceramic shampoo, for instance, like you said, you do have to use it several times to notice the effects, but you'll notice the effects on a car that, like on the glass of a vehicle, you'll notice those a lot quicker, a lot sooner, because silica and glass are in the same chemistry family, just like our ceramic coating and ceramic shampoo are the same chemistry. So like attracts like, and that's one of the ideas behind those as maintenance shampoos for our coatings, is that every time you wash the car, you're basically reapplying basically a more diluted version of what the ingredients that are in our coatings to your vehicle. So it's going to add it and continue to build and maintain those coatings over time. But we have cars here in the shop, and my own personal vehicles, every time I wash them, I'm using cleanse on my cars, and all the glass looks like it's all coated and hasn't been coated on my truck because it's just from the shampoo. So
just strictly
just from washing, and so it is there. It's not going to be that immediate first rinse. You're going to see it, and plus, when you are using a shampoo, there's different surfactants and stuff in there that will bond to the surface. So when you do rinse it away, it's going to sheet and not really beat up. But if you let it dry and the next time you wash it, hose down with water or rinse it off, will start noticing that the sheeting and the beating.
Okay. And that's probably the best explanation I've heard for it.
Yeah.
So appreciate that. And the same person, I was wondering if you guys have a ceramic snow foam or ceramic foam. And I believe the ceramic shampoo kind of does those.
It's ceramic shampoo and the ceramic shampoo and the cleanse is going to be the best. The cleanse is going to have a little bit more foam and a little bit more lubricity than the ceramic shampoo, because we're a little bit higher on the surfactants and a little bit stronger in the cleaning power of that, just because of some of the more durability and chemical resistance of the graphene coatings in our lineup. So that's going to be a little bit more foamy, a little bit more higher performance and deeper cleaning. But yeah, those are kind of our snow foams. But making a ceramic snow foam is not going to be the best solution, just because the ceramic ingredients will actually kill some of the studs in there. So our foam party is probably the best.
Foam party. Speaking of foam parties, it seems like Audi Conrad up in Maine's having.
You can see that too. What we're working on behind the scenes
too. I haven't tried foam party out yet. I've got I don't know how many shampoos I need to get through, and when I test out shampoos, I like the car to be dirty first. No shade to other detailers and YouTube channels testing out shampoos. Everyone's got their method, but I sometimes I gotta wait for it to rain. Right now, it's been raining multiple times a week, so I can get more of these videos in. But like last summer here in Texas, we were in a drought. We didn't have any rain for like 3 months.
Wow.
That was so it was hot, but hopefully we get more rain this summer. But I don't know.
Yeah, because that's the goal, right? With a soap, you want to see cleaning power. Obviously, the experience is important. The sudsing and the lubricity and the slickness and all that stuff is really important. But you want it to clean,
Exactly. And the way I judge it, I read the label. What does the label claim? Is this claiming it's pre-wash? Is it claiming that it's just the normal wash? Because if it's a normal wash and the foam doesn't pull a crap load of stuff off, I'm like, whatever. As long as the contact wash as well. If it is a pre-wash, though, it better hit hard. And speaking of that, I don't think you guys have a pre-wash yet. Anyway, dedicated pre-wash.
The foam party is kind of our pre-wash. I designed that to be basically your foam step. And at the time when that product first came out, we did have a car shampoo that was just kind of a bucket shampoo, and those were designed to kind of work in pair to have the foam party really just for foam cannons and foam guns, and then have a bucket wash. So
what is foam party like? A pH of like 8 to 9? Or?
Yeah, it's pH neutral, so it's not going to be it's not cleaning or stripping on the pH scale, but more on the surfactants itself. And that product really was really designed for foam build. So it has humectants in it. Humectants basically keep suds wet, and wetter suds pop a lot slower than dry bubbles, basically. So that really is designed to be agitated in a foam cannon, foam gun to give you the best.
I'm gonna have to see, because I haven't used it yet. But I know a good snow foam, because I also, if something claims to be a snow foam and it clings and it's got that microfoam and it's tougher to rinse off, I'm like, okay, it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Now, when something's supposed to be like a hand wash, bucket wash, and it does that, then I tend to not like it. But
yeah, it makes sense
on what it's made for, because I don't expect a snow foam to come off easily because if it's clinging on there, that means it's doing its job.
Designed to stick and be So foam parties would be. I think you'd be impressed with the film build and the
Gotcha.
clinginess of that. So
we're getting some rain in tomorrow, so maybe we'll get to use it soon.
Awesome.
So,
yeah.
Tim, you got any plans to get your products retail, auto parts stores, big box stores?
Not any short-term plans. We've discussed it with a few suppliers and distributors. There's a lot of downsides to it. In just terms of the distribution itself, price structure, all that, it would be advantageous though to have people be able to get stuff locally to them. Not have to pay for shipping or have to worry about that kind of thing.
I know, like mainly with retail sales, you're fighting for shelf space, right? Because there's only a limited amount of shelf space. And so, one, you got the major brands that just kind of got it locked down. You can't beat them out. So you're trying to, hey, what other brands are going to be on the way out? And then can we get in?
Yeah.
And then once you're on the shelf, you got to continue fighting for shelf space before the company's like, hey, we're taking you off the shelf, put someone else on here. So.
And they want really aggressive, contracts as well too. And it's hard as a small business to really compete.
They want this is like 300,000 bottles or something like that.
Yeah, they want large, purchase volumes. They don't want to pay for it up front. It's like there's a lot of different things that go into it. They want a big commission cut. They want basically you to pay for shelves. There's a lot of stuff in the behind the scenes, business wise.
So I've noticed like doing stuff like that really is for when your business is at the level where you're just moving crazy high volume. Your profit margins are slim, but you're making profit because you're selling so much.
Yeah,
exactly. And obviously, as much as every brand would love to be there, I don't think Ethos is at the level of Turtle Axe, McGuire's, and them where everyone around the world's using this stuff. Maybe one day, but
once customers start becoming more aware of the brand and asking for it by name is a time where you want to approach.
I mean, Ethos is still a relatively young company compared to some of these who have been here 20, 30, 40 years, so.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe down the road, but focusing on really just direct to consumer online and Amazon, I think is.
I'll be honest. A lot of people, like me personally, I don't care where a product's sold, but there's people that are just like, oh, it's sold in a big box store, it must not be there. Because like Adams recently, a couple of years ago, they started getting on auto parts stores shelves. Yeah. Now they're in Walmart. Some people were just losing it. They're like, no, my beloved Adams is in Walmart. It's still the same, so who cares?
I've seen that with Chemical Guys too, where I'm part of a Chemical Guys.
I think they were like the first not old school brand to be in Walmart. Because before I started detailing, Chemical Guys was one of the first. That was from, pretty much everyone. That was one of the first brands we were using that we thought was better than what you got off shelf.
Yeah.
It kind of still is. It depends. Other brands have
depends on the product, right?
I would say we're in like the golden age of detailing now. Brands have really gotten aggressive with how heavy they're going into R&D. Because for the longest time, it was just wash and wax. You wax your car, you clay bar, not in that order, but and then you use your sealant or your wax or your polymer sealant. And that's all it was. And then, here comes the ceramic coatings, here comes the ceramic sprays, here comes all these brands launching out. And then all of a sudden, like, it's kind of like how the US and Russia were during the Cold War, all this research and development's happening. Like now it's just all these companies are just like, what else can we come out with? What can we come out? It's been amazing. Like there's been great stuff. Now we got wipe on clear coats, which I think that's the next big thing to hit professionals. Because now you can repair damage without having to remove clear coat if there's no more clear coat to remove. So I think that's really cool. Anyways, getting a little off topic.
I think it's become a really competitive market. So in order to stay relevant and stay competitive, you really have to stay on the cutting edge of technology and have to come out with new stuff. And kind of like you pointed out with the Rinseless, right? Where people's attention is, demand usually kind of follows, or demand supersedes where products go. So people start asking for Rinseless and brands start coming out with more Rinseless products and other brands follow suit and you have a trend.
And then you've got that visibility too. Because I've said to people plenty of times, especially people starting out, I'm like, if you want your brand to succeed, social media becomes part of your job, becomes part of your life. Like you have to be on there. That's for, people selling products or even people doing YouTube. Like you need to be involved with these communities so they know who you are, and then more people. Because if you're just a name, but you're never interacting with anyone, like you don't really seem real, I know when you first launched the brand, you were there for a while. you kind of went radio silence for a while. I know you talked about that, but then you came back, and so
Yeah. It's important to network too and stay in
yeah,
touch with people in the industry as well as customers, and that's why I like doing live streams and stuff like this too, because it's a great opportunity to chat with guys like yourself who have a lot of
yeah.
experience in the
I
industry.
mean,
But
it's
also
nice to get to
customers.
know the people, the person behind the brand,
Totally.
and not just like again, some brands out there are just like, it's a brand, but I don't know who's involved
Yeah.
with it and if they even know anything, So
And like you said too, if it's just a brand that's a marketing company that sells the detail product, and it's just, you don't know what's behind the scenes and don't know. It's hard to tell at face value of a product is really as good as they claim without having actually used it or known people that have used it. So
yeah, and there's a lot of companies that come out too, and they will they'll start out, they come out of the gate strong, they gain popularity, and then a marketing company buys them. They take
yep,
the check and they're like, all right, see you later, and then it just
it falls
brand
off.
goes
Yeah.
down the toilet. I mean, that's what's kind of happening with AutoGeek.
Yeah, exactly. Or they see how, I mean, the industry's gotten so competitive. They see how difficult it is to be a small startup detailing products brand.
Oh yeah, it's hard. And
Tough, man.
any of you watching, if you are a small startup, hey, being available on the internet is a definite plus.
Yep.
But your place starting out is going to be local.
Totally.
Get to know people locally, because you're competing with a lot of people online, and it's going to be tough because they can afford the smaller profit margins that you probably can't afford.
Yep.
Start out local, get people to know you. Shake hands. That's how you sell products. So.
And that's how Ethos started for me. It really started. Our first product was a waterless wash. It was a waterless wash and wax, and that was a design because of our customer cars in our detail shop. We were doing PPF and coatings and stuff on, and they wanted a product they can use to maintain and clean their cars, and it just saw the need for it, and started just selling it right out of the lobby of my detail shop, and then customers would come in. I bought this from my neighbor, and they started asking for
Defy, it really just represents the brand here. Like that's where it all started.
That's where it all. So it wasn't the actual formulation Defy, but that superseded our original waterless wash and wax. Same color, same label. So that's kind
I
of
know when Defy came out, like you guys were big on, we love this product. We want you to love this product. I was seeing it all over the place.
Yeah,
everyone's like Defy, and I've used Defy a little bit as a wireless wash, and I've got to say, I see all the ceramic settle at the bottom, which is a big plus. So I know it's got good protection in there, not just like moderate protection. Or I guess it would be moderate, not light protection. It is stupid slick. It is so easy to use. Like I clean my windshield off with it, and it's not all streaky. So
yeah, we use it on glass as well as a glass cleaner, and all the stuff you see on the bottom there. That's just components that fell out of suspension. That's not even really the activity in the product itself. So that alone, that product will be, even though it's a waterless wash, I would put it against a lot of dedicated spray sealants on the market in terms of durability.
I'm going to have to get it into. I'm going to retest eventually the stronger wireless washes, because there's a few. I think Armor, Rinseless Industries, their wireless washes are pretty tenacious. So I want to get that in there. I'm probably going to wait for like another couple to come out to see if there's anything else out there that's really strong. Okay. I know that's not the goal with waterless washes, but for the entertainment value of the test,
I'd say
people want to see
it's a fun test, because I think it'd be impressive to see what you get out of it. I mean, we have customers getting 6 months out of Defy and using that as a dedicated sealant.
Yeah, you use that every time you wash your car, like you're gonna be good to go. So.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of cool to see all these products now that can incorporate some of these protection aspects and really start adding durability to it.
Absolutely. So Aaron's got a question. You have any plans for a dedicated wheel coating?
No plans that I've really worked on. Our Graphene Max is designed for that application. Yeah, it's going to be in the more durable, really for industrial, for calipers, for wheels, for.
When I applied Graphene Max, I noticed it was pretty grabby compared to the other things. And of the wheel coatings that I've used, I've noticed wheel coatings tend to be pretty grabby because they have a much higher solids count.
And that's really the main difference there is, I mean, there's no real direct formulation you can make for wheels aside from tweaking additives a little bit. But most of the time, you're really just tweaking solids content and really tweaking activity levels. So
and is that so it holds up to the heat and the environment? Because the wheels are in like one of the harshest environments. And I know people say like your paint sees the same thing as your wheels. Yeah, well, yes and no. I guess it depends on the car you got. And my car's got big Brembo brakes on it. Those things are heating up. Those wheels are getting
totally.
And
a lot of it's really that film builds. When you said you really notice it being grabby is because it is so active. Our resins that go in these coatings really are almost like molasses, if not like a honey consistency that we add
That's what it feels
solvency
like.
to. Yeah, so you really like really active coating is going to be really grabby because it is going to leave you in a much thicker film
Then
bed on the
once you buff it, you're like, ooh, that feels nice. Nice.
yeah, exactly. You get off that first top friction layer, and it's
You
becomes
get the
nice and
carrier
smooth.
off. You're like, ooh.
Yeah,
We
and
got
then
a question from, well, I guess it's not really a question. I think he intended it as a question.
mhm.
Legit, when you're coding, that's easy peasy, right?
Yeah, I mean that would be easy peasy. Resist can definitely get there as a sealant, but yeah, easy peasy will get a year no problem, and it's going to be. I mean, in terms of application slickness, easiness, it's
And I know you
unbeatable.
got that new formulation coming out.
Mhm.
And while I got you here, because I still got my ceramic coating test going on, I know you
Yep.
said the Easy Peasy Plus sample you sent and the ceramic V2 sample you sent, and you said those
Yep.
ones, there was an issue with the supplier for the ceramic that found its
Yep.
way to those.
Yeah, our polysiloxane raw material supplier, they've had a lot of issues with consistency of their actual raw materials. So we're actually working behind the scenes in our ceramic coatings right now with a completely different raw material supplier from a completely different country. So we're tests so far look really good. There's nothing wrong with the coatings, just like I said, inconsistencies. So now current production will really have to test each batch. And that was an instance where I kind of noticed on my test panels that those were not performing like they should have for what they were doing, which is what you kind of saw on that test. The graphene was fantastic,
Oh
it
yeah,
was really deteriorating, but that's a completely different supplier than our
and that's
polysiloxanes.
why you do sample testing instead
Yeah,
of
have to.
making a
Yep.
product and releasing it and saying it's the best thing in the world, and it falls flat on its face, and then you don't own up to it. I'm not gonna
Well,
say
when we test every single production batch now that we produce, whether it's water based and solvent based
right.
product, I
Yeah,
personally test it because I've had that in the past where we've released, not even released a new product or where we just have a production batch where it's like, there's a latency to where people actually get the products from when we produce it, and people are like starting to say, hey, this isn't really last year, this doesn't work, and lo and behold, something happened in the batch. We had to either recall it or reship it all, and it becomes a big problem. So now every production batch, I literally get my test hood out or a test panel and apply it, test
okay.
it, run it through the
Yeah, I
ringer,
was
make
gonna
sure.
say I've seen your test lab. It's a shop just like any detailer shop, and you just
Exactly.
got the thing out there, and you're like, all right, let's check. Because I feel that some of these other companies, when they are testing their product, they're in too control of an environment. They're
Yep.
using too pure of water. They're not really in the representative of how's a
Real
detailer
world.
using this. Because
Yeah.
even though you may have a shop, other than Eddie up in his super nice bougie shop with 1,000 square feet of space, you can fit,
It's
10 semi
nice.
truck trailers in there. Most people are detailing, if they're not in a shop, they got their 2 car garage, which
Mhm.
usually is barely big enough for 1 car. And if it's nice out, you got the door open. So you got the elements in effect there. Most people's water has some degree of hardness. I
Yep.
know here I've got high lime scale content. Other places have high iron content. That can totally mess.
Affect
It can
things. Yeah.
not just
Soap as
skew
well.
your results, but like if your water is high in iron, that's going to contaminate your paint
Yeah.
faster than Or if here lime scale, if I don't dry that off, then I got
Water
these nice
spots.
chalky water spots everywhere. That just looks
Totally.
stupid. So.
Well, it even affects the way soaps will suds too. Depending on your solids and what's in your water as well. Products will perform differently for sure.
Absolutely. All right, let's see if we got any other questions here. Chris wants to know what's your workout program?
I do a lot aside from buffing cars all day and laying paper protection film, which is quite the arm workout if anyone's ever done it. I do a lot of like CrossFit workouts, Olympic lifting, some bodybuilding stuff.
Okay.
I try to stay active. I run 2 businesses parallel, so there's a lot of mental stress and stuff that goes along with that.
Yeah,
And
we're
it's
gonna have to like come out with like a swole detailer series because
yeah,
we've got you, we got Ryan. There's a few other people out there that just come on the streams, and you guys are just like,
we'll
just
talk
ready,
about
ready to
fitness
go. Like,
and
hey, give me
retail.
some weights to lift. Let's get them out of here.
Yeah, it's funny. We have a GT3 RS in the shop right now, a brand new one, and the center locks to take those off require a really big torque wrench, specific torque wrench, and it weighs about 40 pounds. And we're joking around just doing curls in the back with it, like as a part of the workout program. So maybe there's like a weighted polisher we can come out with. People can kind of do like bicep curls.
Just that way you can get swole and detail at the same
Yeah,
time.
get
You're gonna see
swollen
just a
detail at
bunch
the
of
same
dudes just walking
time.
around super buff. Like, all right,
Yeah, maybe
you
we're
know,
onto something with that.
the
So
polish and
that's
workout at the same time. And you never know. I mean, this crazier ideas that I caught on. So.
yeah, and I mean detailing is a workout too, especially during the summertime, man. You work up a sweat. You're doing a paint correction or a coating application, or man, it's tough. It's not easy stuff.
You are not lying there. That's why I don't do it full time.
Mm.
Well, and that's also why I like doing exteriors. Exteriors, I'm just shy of 6 feet. It didn't quite make it, just shy of 6 feet.
Yeah,
But for somebody of my stature,
it's
crawling
tough to
through
get.
cars is not easy. I always see the guys that love interiors are always the smaller, shorter guys.
Totally.
Nothing out, shout out to the short kings. We got Carlos Serrano out there crawling through interiors like it's nobody's business.
Totally.
I just can't do it. Like the second I lean over, I'm just like, mm-mm.
Yeah, you're not fitting your hands on those cracks and crevices as
Yeah,
easily.
yeah. It was
It's
like you
tough.
got to be a contortionist to really just get in there every single day. Because I know guys that are approaching 40 years old. Some guys that are 40 years old, and like they're still doing it, but they're just beat. They got neck problems, back problems,
Tough
and
on your body, man. It's I
killing
have a lot of
yourself.
respect for guys that are doing detailing full time, and it's not easy. It's definitely not easy in your body.
But Wes over here saying easy peasy. I agree, easy peasy. Great name for
Yeah,
coding because it kind of just says what it is. This is
yeah.
easy.
Easy polysiloxane.
Yeah,
It's
and it was easy to apply.
totally.
Same with the easy glass. Like that was I
Mhm.
applied that, and that was easier to apply than Rain-X. I'm like, what is
It's
this? What is this What is this magic you put in here that's
yeah.
so
We
performs so
started
well?
throwing those in on some of our bigger projects here in the shop because my tech prefers doing the easy glass coating than actually cleaning glass. So he slaps it on real quick, wipes it off, and he loves it. The customer's happy because they get a glass coating, and we don't have to worry about working with
Yeah,
a streaky glass cleaner. Which you tested
and, and,
our clarity when we had some problems with the streakiness of that. So
and
um,
funny enough, one of my video of the Rain-X ceramic glass cleaner. I got a few comments on that today, and like that product was just so awful to use. I'm like, why would you release this? This is worse than your original product, which is great.
yeah,
Like if this isn't as easy to use as Rain-X, why the hell is it out? But when I
makes sense.
used the coating that was easier to use with Rain-X, I was just
Well,
shocked.
yeah.
And I've still got it on my car, and it's still shedding the water beautifully.
Still working
So
well. It's awesome. Yeah, and that's really a product that I was hesitant to release a glass coating just because I feel like having too many coatings in a lineup can get kind of confusing for people when they feel like they have to buy a bunch of different products to do their car. Because our regular graphene coating will work on glass. It's not going to work as good as a dedicated glass coating. So, but once we really started getting that product out to a few testers and they gave us the feedback, I was like, we have to
yeah,
release to the
well,
market
I
because it's
mean, somebody buys
so
easy
good.
peasy because they're just looking for something easy to use the first time applying coating. When they see, oh, there's
Yep,
also easy glass.
yep.
I don't know
Hand
if
in
you
hand.
guys are going kind of that direction with the easy line of products, but I
Yeah,
think that's a great idea.
that really was the goal, and kind of iterating from our ceramic wax, approachable ceramic coating and wax form is like same thing with easy glass, easy peasy. Is how do we approach and give it to people that have never had a coating experience? They can use it, and not be approached.
Gotcha. Stephanie's got a question. What's your favorite part of detailing?
Favorite part of detailing, man. I really like the obviously the final results, but I really like tough details. So I like paint corrections that are like a big turnaround. So you get a car, let's say jet black paint that's several years old, that's really
Oh yeah,
marred up, really scratched up. It's just the before and after of a project like that, going even from far away. I'm not even talking about like close up sun shots, but just the color difference, the gloss difference, the clarity, the way the car, you completely change the way the car looks. So
yeah. I've got a
I
video
really,
of a Corvette Z06 that's jet black,
mhm,
and that paint,
that's
even the
heavy paint.
PPF was rough.
Yeah.
And I just did a one step on it, but it was a big turnaround, and that guy was happy.
It makes such a big difference. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
paint correction stuff. Even though I personally spend a lot of time in the protection side of the business now in terms of coatings and paint protection film, I enjoy when I get the polish from my hands and do paint correction steps and go through all the different processes doing that because it's really rewarding personally for me, and that's something we're testing right now with
paint
an
correction is just fun because it's just like that's where, in my opinion, I mean interiors too, but really the paint because that's where everyone's seeing. That's where
Mhm.
detailing becomes art.
Exactly.
Like well, people will see the car in public and they'll be like, "Wow, your car looks great," and it can
Yeah.
be dirty too. And I'm like, "Yeah, it's dirty right now. What are you talking about?" But
It's,
it's so glossy and reflective still. And people are just taken back because most people's cars are just these swirl covered messes. So
mhm. Yeah, it
uh,
makes a good detail great. Really, is that and the polishing steps of it. So
gotcha. And then Brian said he was talking about 1 year spray coating, which would be resist, right?
resist Yeah, and because a lot of people, it is water based, but there is a solvent based coating resin in there. So, because we played around with going the solvent based route, there's some downsides to it. You'd get some more durability out of it, but slickness would drop, gloss would drop, usability would drop. So, I think it's that, like I said, the best balance of durability and also usability.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it is, and so far everything's been pretty easy to use. I do like the ceramic speed wax too. When you apply that, it does get kind of hazy like wax. It really feels
Yeah,
like,
it kind of
that's
flashes off
nice.
too, and
Because I've
that's
used
something
other
too.
things that are called spray wax that it feels
Yeah,
like you're using just a sealant. And like,
just
which
a
it's
detail
not a
spray or
problem. It's
something.
just you get that wax experience. So,
Exactly, and that's important. People will have that novelty of applying a wax and like that haziness and wiping it off and everything. So
there we go. Use a Milwaukee polisher with a 12 amp hour battery, and you get a good workout. I think the
get a
right
good
you can get 9
imagine.
amp hours too, and you'll get
Add
nice and
some
strong.
add some weight to it. Yeah, it's like
You're probably gonna have to like counterbalance it though, 'cause then it's gonna be lifting up off the panel so much.
yeah. It probably you probably have some lower back pain after that too.
And then any new products on the horizon? I know we had discussed that at the beginning
Yeah.
here, but I know one of you said it's a rinseless wash. Anything else that you're coming up with?
Yeah, we have new microfibers. So this is our in-house plush microfiber towels. We have 2 versions of those. Those will probably be the next release in the next week or so. Ceramic Wax Pro version 3 is coming out in very, very soon. So
Oh, yeah, you're showing me your sample testing of that. It was looking
yeah,
promising. So
yeah, it's really the hydrophobics of that was something that we had some inconsistencies with in the past, and we found a new active material to add to that really made the water beading a lot better. So that's in the horizon. Actually, a lot. I mean, we'll probably have between the now and the end of the year, we'll have at least 9 more new products coming out. So
9. Wow.
yeah,
Okay,
there's
well, looking forward to it.
a lot of stuff. Interior cleaner, rinseless, as we talked about. Yeah, lots of fun stuff coming.
I know foam party V2. We got
Foam
this
party V2. Yep, exactly.
New versions of the coatings. I know you said Clarify you're working on as well. Is that planned to release this year? Or?
Yeah, we're still struggling with finding a way. I mean, because like in your experience, like you shared, products that are really good in terms of hydrophobics are suck to use, not really good cleaner, and then products that are really good cleaners are not really good in terms of performance. So we're still struggling to find a good balance with that. So that'll be end of the year, but we currently don't have like an ETA or anything on that because it's become a lot harder than we thought it would be to make a good balance of both.
Gotcha. So then your coatings, are they all outdoor safe? Not necessarily in direct sun. I'm assuming he means in a shaded area.
Yeah.
But you can use them outdoors as long as
Yeah,
you got
totally.
the appropriate conditions.
Yeah, as long as you're diligent with them too. Like, it's not in direct sunlight on a hot panel. It's not going to rain in the next, while you're applying it or something like that. Yeah, totally.
Mobile detailer friendly.
Totally. Yeah.
And then what is it? 12-hour cure time before they can go outside, or?
Yeah, I mean they can go outside within an hour. Really, an hour
Okay.
is going to be kind of the time to where you don't want to wash the car, but obviously you can or get it just wet, but it can be drivable within an hour.
That's good to know. So, because I know a lot of people they might have to drive the car back somewhere or something. So that's good to
Exactly. Yeah, the Easy Glass is the one coating where there's no cure time on that. So that's instant.
Yeah. David wants to know if it'll last the Canadian winter. So I know it lasted the Texas winter, which isn't really saying much compared to the Canadian winter. And I'm from New Hampshire originally, so I know what those winters are like. But it's holding out to the intense UV that we get here, which is unlike most other places.
And it makes a difference.
So, and UV, in my opinion, seems to kill more things than any chemical.
Yeah, UV is really, really tough on protection products. UV is tough on anything, right? UV is what breaks down radiation. So
yeah,
I mean,
I always get people. I get these products that claim this, that, this, and that. People are claiming this and that, and I believe it. I just think they're in a different climate. So, like here, if your car sits outside like that sun's going to destroy whatever's on there faster than expected. So.
Yeah. Canadian winter, Easy Glass definitely should last. The biggest thing with abrasion for Easy Glass would be your wiper blades. So. Making sure you
on the roads, getting and wiping.
Yeah, making sure you clean those wiper blades good, or they're not really old and deteriorated. And obviously, you're not using wiper blades on a really dirty, filthy windshield consistently because that does make a difference.
Yeah, I know. Just from growing up in the Northeast, it is using the window cleaner at the gas station is a pretty common thing. To get all that crud off there. So hopefully David's keeping his windshield relatively clean.
And it will make the ice buildup easier to clean off too, right? So we have customers where they just basically push off sheets of ice after Easy Glass is on there.
So I've got a question. If I were to buy a gallon of Defy,
Hmm.
could I use that in my windshield wiper fluid?
You could dilute it for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I think our ceramic rinseless will probably be a better option for
One
that.
step below.
We're designing that to be really a concentrate you can dilute down to a detailed spray, obviously wash buckets, clay lube, all that stuff. So
That being said, use it in your wiper fluid at your own risk.
mhm.
Tim's
Yeah,
not
I don't.
responsible if
Yeah,
you destroy your system there.
yeah. If it mixes with something else in there that we don't know about, it's not. Yeah, it's not. I'm not going to replace your windshield fluid, unfortunately.
So using resist or ceramic speed wax as drying aids, how much does that reduce the longevity and bond in your experience? So if there's water on the surface and you're using the product and it's getting mixed in with the water, does that affect the bond at all?
Yeah, it's going to dilute it down a little bit. So, yeah, it's hard to say specifically how much is going to reduce it, but obviously, if you take a product and add some water as dilution, it's not going to be as strong. So, if you use it as a spray and rinse, like resist, you can actually use a spray and rinse, like a wet coat type
And
product.
use finish shine as a spray rinse as we found.
That as well. All of our Instabond products are going to be like that.
Okay.
So,
All right.
that definitely will reduce the performance versus like spray and wipe application. Not drastically, but definitely not going to be as strong.
So probably be best to use it first on a perfectly decontaminated vehicle, and then subsequently use it as drying aid if that's
come back and touch up spots and everything. Yeah, totally. That would be good. And ceramic speed wax actually works really well as a drying aid too. That's something that due to its a little bit thicker consistency tends to like help spread and dry water up a little bit better than some of the thinner products.
All right. And can enthusiasts use your Proline coatings? And I know your Proline, it's that one graphene you have. I forget what it's called. But
the RGO.
Is that what it is?
Reduced graphene oxide.
On what's the coating? The name of the coating on the website?
Oh, Graphene Pro. Yeah.
Graphene Pro. Okay, that's simple enough, right? Can enthusiasts access that?
Yeah, so that product right now, we're still only offering that to people that have detail businesses. We're working on a program to where we can open up to a wider audience. It is tough because I know there's a big debate online about pro only products and differences, why they have them, that kind of thing. Just so full transparency, my rationale behind the pro only products is that, especially having an experience myself, is I've lost jobs early on in my detail career because customers would look up a coating I was selling them, as part of a package and see, that's only buying on Amazon is $55, $60, and then you have to you got to re-educate them on the process, and you're paying for the prep, you're paying for the application, yada yada. Yeah. So having a paywall for the average person not see pricing does give detailers more peace of mind for that kind of thing.
I can see how it makes more sense for a shop too, because the shop wants to be be exclusive with what they're offering. I know me personally, when I'm selling my services, I'm selling myself. My talents, my skills, not what I'm using. And
the
I
customers
think
trust you to do
I've
it.
had probably less than 5 people ask what coating I'm using. They're just like, hey, I've heard of you from this guy, and he really liked what you did. So
and they're to trust your perspective on it too, because I think it's one thing. Like when you go to get your window tint done, you're not asking or looking online how much a window tint roll costs. Like it's not something that. So I think for coatings,
I'm not doing that myself.
Yeah, exactly. So I think people. Yeah, there's a little bit of controversy with it, but we're probably in the future open up to some more people.
Perfect. And then David, up in Canada, he's just waiting. Sounds like he's waiting for the weather to get better before he can bust out the product. So he's waiting.
That's fantastic. Keep us posted how everything goes, and looking forward to seeing the results.
All right. And then Kimberly wants to know if we can pre-spray whole or half the car with the new Rinseless. Or is
you can do it all. It can dry. It's not going to spot. Not going to cause any issues with that kind of thing. Obviously, if it dries, it will leave water spots where they're not going to etch. They're not going to.
They should wipe off pretty easily.
Wipe right off.
Reactivate it once you spray.
Reactivate it, that kind of thing. And it's kind of cool. Our Rinseless actually, when you go to use it, it has kind of a wet coat effect where you actually see the water go from flat to beat up. So you actually can see the protection starting to leave on the surface.
Cool. Awesome. There you go. So just soak the whole car down. I know I like to do section by section, not necessarily panel, but just because I feel like I'm doing more work if I got to reactivate it and wipe it off again. But I mean, if you got the right environment, if it's not super humid, super hot where you live, you probably get away with it.
If you work really quick, you can knock it all out really quick.
When I do Rinseless, I usually have my bay door closed, air conditioners on, and the fans on, so things tend to dry up pretty quick.
Doesn't dry up.
Any sample products? I guess.
No, like sample sizing. We do obviously offer a money back guarantee of all our products. So but nothing like no sample size, anything like that, unfortunately.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I think that's it for questions.
Do you have any questions, Martin? I know you know we've. Is there any products that you haven't tried that you want to try and are curious about
Yeah,
in
I
terms
think
of?
I think I've gotten just about everything so far, other
Yeah,
than the stuff that hasn't released yet. I know the graphene shine. That's one I've been wanting to test out for a while. I've been eyeballing on Amazon for a long time. Finally got
nice,
it yet. But yeah, well, I'll be testing Resist out up against another company's product.
awesome.
Um, Foam Party, and then Graphene Shine, and then Defy in the future. But Defy, yeah, that's Defy has definitely been a staple product, and that's definitely one to get out there.
Yeah, that's
Um,
definitely a good product for somebody that hasn't, tried any of our products to start with, because it really kind of shows, what we offer, and it's usable. It's a lot
here's
of applications.
here's a question from Eddie. We all know Eddie doesn't like the sprayers. Any plans to switch your
Eddie,
sprayer supplier?
it's yeah. I mean, I've talked with Eddie a little bit about this too behind the scenes. We're gonna be coming out with some branded 32-ounce like professional style bottles that basically you can dilute down or downfill into those like from gallons or that kind of thing.
Oh, okay, so like just empty bottles for dilution, or
Yeah, and
know.
that's a quick solution. The longer solution is, I mean, when we go to buy sprayers, we're buying pallets at a time. So we're buying 50,000 sprayers at a time,
Yeah,
and the goal is, I mean, they're designed to be basically last the life of the bottle. They're consumable. They're meant to be thrown away, not meant to be reused. But there are some better options out there that are, it's a little bit cost prohibitive. So it's kind of a balancing act of do we come out with a better solution, or do we can work on engineering something that does, that can fit the pricing profile, but there's nothing available that I've found that is super high quality that would fit pricing as well as availability and that kind of thing. Because
gotcha.
we're only selling if we're only selling a couple dozen products a month, that's not a big deal. But when you get into buying, selling, or buying pallets and pallets of sprayers, it makes a big deal when your cost
So
is so much.
maybe this is an option. Just offer premium sprayers that you can just throw in with whatever for an additional cost.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Have a more premium, option on the website. We can sell at cost or something like that. Yeah, that's an option too.
There we go. David says that he's going to put on press all anyways. I don't like press all sprayers. I'm going to say it. I don't like something that sprays when I release the sprayer. I don't like it. I feel like
Yeah,
it's too much product.
I'm not a huge fan either, because what are I forgot the K brand, whatever that
Quasar.
name is. Quasar. Thank you. I used those a long time ago, and they're kind of the same effect. And then after, because you drop them and things happen and they break. It's just when you break a $25, $30
I like the control of being able to just pull a little bit, and I only get a little
Yep.
bit. If I release it sprays more, I'm like,
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah.
It's, I will say, IK's new weighted sprayers with the weighted tube.
That's nice.
That's been one of the best things to come. I don't know why it took so long for a company that makes sprayers to do this.
Yeah.
Because I know Ammo NYC came out with that goofy looking bottle that has the hinge on it.
Yep.
I like the concept. I hated the bottle design. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to have these stupid bottles all over the place. But I do like the concept and where he went, and he's probably developing off that, making it better. Yep. But IK just like, hey, we'll just sell you these sprayers that have a weighted tube on it with a filter.
Perfect.
Like, amazing.
Yeah. Same with
many times I'm using wheel cleaners and I'm trying to get the last out of it, but it's at the wrong angle. And
it doesn't work as well. And that's kind of the same thing. We're going to be in our version 2 of the foam cannon. We're working on a dip tube that has that weighted filter to it, so you don't it follows around whatever angle you put it on. Because nothing worse than using a foam cannon and at an angle and it starts spraying air out, and you're like, you can't get the last bit of suds out. So,
all right. So Aaron wants to know, whenever another brand, in the same realm as Ethos, releases a product that's something innovative, do you feel pressure to start researching and developing something similar?
Not really personally, because I don't want to rush a product to market just to have a product out there. I'm really a perfectionist to the point that I probably could have released products sooner and done better with them. Like Resist is an example to where we're working on that for almost 2 years before we came out with it. That we probably could have got a better market share if we came out with it sooner. Because there were other. I think 303 was like a year or so ahead of us with like a graphene spray sealant type product, and we, I personally like finalizing the formulation to the best of our current knowledge before releasing anything. So
I mean,
if
that's
someone
smart.
comes out with a rinseless or comes out with a soap or interior cleaner or whatever else, oftentimes we've already been working on something in the background. So
Okay.
I'm not going to then rush to try to compete.
Would you say then you're just more reactive to what your customers want to see versus what the market's doing?
Yeah, or more reactive to if a raw material comes across our desk as well
Oh, yeah,
too.
I guess so.
And that makes a big difference because our raw material suppliers supply a lot of different brands as well. So we do have a little bit of pressure where it's like, oh, we have a new additive that's really novel and works well. Well, they're showing that to several other blending companies as well.
So everyone, you already know everyone's starting in on it. So
yeah, that if they like it too, then they may so relate. So there is a little bit of a pressure with that, but not in terms of like other detailed brands that have a lot of stuff out there, because like abrasives too, that's kind of our next focus for some product development. But I've been working on those for years now, and people come out with stuff, and not until I'm happy with everything are we going to release it all.
Okay, I got one last question. Any plans for a dedicated spray and rinse sealant?
Like a wet coat?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Something that's just so concentrated, it's only useful for that, and if you use it dry, you're gonna hate it.
Yeah, I have a formulation that I think works really well. I don't know. It's hard to tell like where the line is between having too many options and not enough. Like I think there is a need for something like that, but if we release it, then is it too complicated for people to go, well, this product does that, and so does resist, and so does finish shine, and so does the like. I mean, I don't know where the line is. I think we could do something in the future with it, but as of right now, not really like short term going to be coming out with that. But if the customers really want it, we can release it.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's just about everything. Looks like the questions really died down, and we're just talking about press all sprayers. So we're back to just being normal detailers on the internet.
Awesome.
Anyways, Tim, thanks for stopping by. What are your socials where people can find you at?
Yeah, so it's at Ethos Car Care. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's all of our main channels. And then, I'm available to chat. Anyone who has questions, I'm usually the one that's responding to Instagram and Facebook messages and all that stuff. So I love, engaging with our customers and enthusiasts. So make sure to, like and follow us, and love to converse with more people.
Awesome. And Tim, I believe you're also in my Bellavoro detailing community group, as well as the car detailing deals group.
Exactly.
So you guys can find Tim in there if you ever have a question for him.
Yeah, you can tag me, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Yeah, and also this guy is active in comments on videos about his products. So, I really before I even knew him, I started releasing him, and I see Ethos right there leaving a comment day one. So he doesn't miss a beat.
Yeah, I stay on top of it.
Absolutely. But anyways, everyone, you'll be seeing me test more products out in Ethos. I've tested a bunch out already, and probably be testing the stuff that comes out in the future. So definitely stay tuned. But Tim, appreciate you stopping by. Everybody else,
thanks for having me
while watching. And I will see you all next week. I think we're gonna have Yancy Martinez from Monkey Head Car Care and a bunch of other things in the past. So everybody be sure to tune in for that.
Awesome.
That's all I got. You guys all have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend. See you, everybody.